I, 34M, think my wife, 32F, has been lying to me for months, and I don't even recognize my own life anymore. So yeah. I never thought I'd be that guy posting here, but here we are. My wife and I have been together for 8 years, married for 5. Up until recently, I would have told anyone we were solid. Not perfect, but stable. Shared routines, inside jokes, the kind of comfort that feels like, this is it. But about 4 to 5 months ago, something started to feel off. At first, it was small stuff. She got weirdly defensive over basic questions. Like I'd ask, "Hey, what time are you home?" And she'd snap back with, "Why are you tracking me?" Which was completely out of character. She used to text me updates without me even asking. Then the lies started creeping in. Not big, obvious ones. Little things that didn't add up. She'd say she was at work late, but I'd hear background noise that didn't sound like her office. Or she'd tell me she was with a friend, and later that same friend would casually mention they hadn't seen her in weeks. I told myself I was overthinking. Stress, work, whatever. But the feeling didn't go away. If anything, it got louder. And the worst part? She started acting like I was the problem. Like my gut feeling was some kind of personal attack on her. I didn't know it yet, but that was just the beginning. At some point, the small stuff stopped feeling small. She started coming home later. Not like stuck in traffic. Late, I mean disappearing for hours with vague explanations like, "I just needed space," or "I lost track of time." And every time I tried to talk about it, she'd flip it on me. "You're suffocating me. You're imagining things. You always do this." That last one hit hard because I've never been the jealous type. If anything, I've always trusted her more than I probably should have. But then her phone habits changed. This woman used to leave her phone anywhere: kitchen counter, couch, bathroom. Now, it was glued to her. Screen always face down. Notifications suddenly silent. She even started taking it with her to shower, which I know sounds cliché, but when you see someone change that drastically, you notice. One night, we were watching TV, and she got a message. I didn't even try to look, but she instantly grabbed the phone, stood up, and said she needed to take this. No explanation, just gone into the other room with the door closed. I sat there, staring at the TV, not hearing a single word of what was playing. That was the moment something in me shifted. Not proof. Not confirmation. Just that quiet, sinking realization that I was no longer imagining things. And instead of talking to me like a partner, she was hiding something. I wish I could say I confronted her right then. I didn't. I started paying attention instead. Once that switch flipped, I couldn't unsee things. It's like my brain started connecting dots I had been ignoring for months. She suddenly cared a lot more about how she looked. New clothes, different style, even a new perfume I'd never smelled before. And yeah, people can change things up, I get that, but paired with everything else? It didn't feel innocent. Then there were the schedules. She started going to the gym, except she'd be gone for 2 to 3 hours and come back barely sweaty. When I joked about her world record workouts, she snapped at me and said I was being an asshole. No humor, no lightness, just straight hostility. Another weird thing, she stopped talking about her day. We used to do that every night, just decompress, vent, share dumb stories. Now it was always same as usual, or nothing interesting. Meanwhile, she was constantly texting people while sitting right next to me. One night, she left her laptop open on the table while she went to shower. I wasn't even planning to snoop, I swear. But a notification popped up on the screen. Just a name I didn't recognize. and a message preview that said, "Can't stop thinking about last night." My stomach dropped so fast, I thought I might actually throw up. I just stared at it, frozen, like if I didn't move, it wouldn't be real. I didn't click it. I didn't need to. That one line was enough to shatter whatever denial I had left. I wish I could say I handled that moment calmly. I didn't. I just sat there, staring at that message like it might change if I blinked enough times. My chest felt tight, hands shaking, that kind of cold, heavy panic you can't really explain unless you've felt it. Part of me wanted to open the chat right then and there. Just rip the bandage off and see everything. But I didn't. And honestly, I think it's because I was scared of making it real. As long as I hadn't clicked it, there was still this tiny, pathetic part of me clinging to some alternative explanation. Maybe it was a joke. Maybe it was about something else. Maybe. Yeah, I know how that sounds. Instead, I did something worse. I waited. I acted normal when she came out of the shower. Like nothing had happened. Like I hadn't just seen a message that basically confirmed my worst fear. She sat next to me, leaned her head on my shoulder like she always used to, and started scrolling through her phone. And I just froze. Because now every little thing felt fake. The way she laughed, the way she touched me, it all felt rehearsed, like I was watching someone play the role of my wife instead of actually being her. At one point, she looked up at me and said, "You're quiet. What's wrong?" And the craziest part? I almost told her. But then she smiled, like nothing in the world was off, and something inside me just shut down. So I said, "Nothing. Just tired." That was the first time I knowingly lied back to her. And somehow, that felt like crossing a line I couldn't uncross. That night, I didn't sleep. She fell asleep like nothing was wrong, actually fell asleep, like a normal person with a clear conscience. Meanwhile, I was lying there staring at the ceiling, replaying that message over and over in my head. "Can't stop thinking about last night." Those 6 words felt louder than anything she had ever said to me. Around 2 a.m., I gave in. Her phone was on the nightstand, screen down like always. For a solid 10 minutes, I just stared at it, arguing with myself. I'd never gone through her phone before. Not once in 8 years. But at that point, it didn't feel like betrayal. It felt like survival. I picked it up. My hands were actually shaking, which is embarrassing to admit, but yeah. That's where I was mentally. I tried the passcode. Didn't work. That alone hit me like a punch. She had changed it. After years of using the same one. I just sat there holding her phone, feeling this mix of anger and, honestly, humiliation. Like I was some outsider trying to break into a stranger's life. Then I remembered her laptop. Still on the table in the living room. I got up as quietly as I could, like I was the one doing something wrong, and went out there. The screen had gone to sleep, but it didn't need a password. And that message? Still there. This time. I clicked it. I don't think anything really prepares you for that moment. You think you want the truth, like you need it. But when it's right there in front of you, there's this split second where your brain just begs you to close it and pretend you never saw anything. I didn't close it. The chat opened, and it wasn't just one message. It was weeks, maybe months, of conversations. Scrolling up felt like digging my own grave. Inside jokes I didn't understand. Plans. Compliments. Flirting that wasn't even subtle. And yeah, references to nights they had spent together. That last night message? Not a one-off. Just part of an ongoing thing. I remember one specific line that hit harder than anything else. "Wish I didn't have to go back to him." I had to actually step away from the laptop after reading that. Like physically step back, because my chest felt like it was collapsing in on itself. I went into the kitchen, just stood there in the dark for a while, trying to breathe normally. It's weird what your brain focuses on. I remember staring at the sink, noticing a plate I hadn't washed, like that somehow mattered in that moment. Eventually, I went back, because I could not know anymore. And it got worse. Photos. Not explicit, but intimate enough. The kind you don't send someone unless there's something real going on. And then I saw his name clearly for the first time. Someone she had told me was just a coworker a couple months ago. That's when it stopped being doubt. Stopped being suspicion. It was just fact. My wife wasn't just lying. She had built a whole second reality, and I wasn't part of it. I don't even remember going back to bed. I must have, because the next thing I knew, my alarm was going off, and she was already up, getting ready like it was just another normal morning. And that messed with my head more than anything. Because how do you sit there, making coffee, humming to yourself, after everything I had just seen? I watched her move around the kitchen like I was watching a stranger. Same face, same voice, but it felt completely disconnected from the person in those messages. She looked at me and said, "You look like crap. Didn't sleep?" I almost laughed. Instead, I just said, "Yeah, not really." She shrugged, already halfway to the kitchen. "Long day. I'm exhausted." There it was. The lie. Delivered so smoothly it almost sounded real. Something in me just snapped into place. "Were you?" I asked. She stopped. Not dramatically. Just a slight pause, barely noticeable if you weren't looking for it. Then she turned around, eyebrows already furrowing. "What's that supposed to mean?" And there it was, the defensiveness. Immediate. Sharp. I stood up. My heart was pounding again, but my voice? Weirdly steady. "It means," I said, "I know you weren't at work." Silence. For a second, just one, I saw it. That flicker. That tiny crack in her expression where she realized this wasn't one of her usual deflections she could just bulldoze through. And then, just as quickly, it was gone. She crossed her arms. "Oh my God! This again? Are you seriously starting this right now?" I almost laughed. Because even now, she was trying to make it about me. "I saw you," I said. That landed. Her face changed again, more noticeably this time. Not full panic, but calculation. "What are you talking about?" she asked. Still lying. Even with everything already out in the open. And that's when I realized something that hit almost as hard as the cheating itself. She wasn't just someone who lied. She was someone who was completely comfortable living inside those lies. I sat down after that. Just sat. On the couch. Staring at nothing. She didn't leave. She didn't even sit down. She just stood there, arms crossed, tapping her foot like she was waiting for me to finish my little scene. And I felt it, the wave of exhaustion that comes after a storm. Not just physical, but emotional. Every ounce of trust, every shared memory, every plan we made together, it all felt like sand slipping through my fingers. I tried to speak, but my throat was tight. "Why?" was all I could manage. Her eyes rolled. "Why what? You're never satisfied. You want to know why I'm living my life?" "No," I said quietly, voice shaking. "I want to know why us wasn't enough. Why me wasn't enough." She laughed, sharp and bitter. You're boring. Predictable. You cling too much." I needed excitement. Excitement. That word hit me harder than a punch. Every lie, every betrayal, every hidden moment, it all made sense now. It wasn't just cheating. It was a quest for something she said I couldn't give. I felt my chest tighten. Tears burned, but I didn't let them fall. I couldn't. Not in front of her. Do you even care? I asked. Her answer, a shrug. I care about me. And that's when the realization hit me like a truck. I was done. Not in the angry storm out, slam the door way, but deep in my bones, I knew I couldn't keep living like this. Couldn't keep trying to salvage something that wasn't there. The woman I married, the one I trusted, loved, built a life with, had disappeared somewhere along the way. And there was no coming back. I left the room. Didn't yell. Didn't beg. Just left. For the first time in months, I felt a little bit free. Not healed. Not happy. But free. The next few days were a haze. I stayed at a friend's place, trying to process. Tried to sleep. Tried to eat. Tried not to replay every single moment in my head like a cruel movie on loop. Funny thing? The anger came first. Burning, hot, all-consuming. I wanted to call her, scream at her, throw things, just make her feel it. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized she wouldn't. She never would. After that, the anger slowly gave way to sadness. Not the dramatic, cry in the rain kind, but a hollow, gnawing ache in my chest. Like losing someone who was still standing right in front of you. I thought about the years we spent together, all the small moments that felt normal, but were now tainted by what I knew. Birthdays, anniversaries, lazy Sunday mornings, every memory felt like a trap I'd walked into unknowingly. And yet, through it all, I also felt something strange, clarity. The fog lifted a little. I realized that my world hadn't ended. My trust had been shattered, yes, but I still had me. My principles, my dignity, my future, all of it still mine. I started thinking about what I actually wanted. Not revenge. Not confrontation. Not validation. Just peace. And for me, peace didn't mean fixing this marriage. It didn't mean pretending I could forget. Peace meant moving forward without her. I had to accept that some people can't be reasoned with, can't be fixed, and don't want the same things you do. It hurt like hell. But slowly, I started feeling like myself again, not the man who doubted everything, but the man who knew the truth and was ready to live in it. Making the decision to leave wasn't easy. I thought about talking to her, demanding answers, hashing it all out, the betrayal, the lies, the months of manipulation. But deep down, I knew it wouldn't change anything. She wasn't capable of remorse in a way that mattered. She'd deflect, twist it, make it about me again. And I wasn't going to play that game anymore. So I started playing quietly. Opened a separate bank account, contacted a lawyer, and found a small apartment nearby. Nothing dramatic. No big scene. Just a plan to reclaim my life. When I finally told her I wanted a separation, it was anticlimactic. She shrugged, said, "Fine," like it was always going to happen anyway. No apologies, no guilt, no tears. Just her usual cold, sharp demeanor. And honestly, I didn't need anything more. I packed my things slowly, savoring the sense of control I hadn't felt in months. The last night I slept in our apartment, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat on the edge of the bed, looked around, and realized this was the end of that chapter. And for the first time in a long time, I felt a flicker of relief. Not happiness yet. Not closure. Just relief that the chaos, the lies, the constant paranoia, was finally ending. Leaving didn't erase the pain. It didn't undo the betrayal. But it gave me back one thing she could never take, my life. Looking back now, I realize I learned more than I ever wanted about trust, love, and self-respect. First, trust is fragile. Once it's broken, no amount of excuses, apologies, or promises can fully restore it, especially when the other person has no intention of stopping the pattern. Second, love doesn't fix everything. You can love someone fiercely, but if they're willing to lie and manipulate to satisfy themselves, love alone won't save the relationship. And third, your gut is rarely wrong. That feeling that something is off? Listen to it. Don't dismiss it, even when it's uncomfortable or you want to believe in the best version of someone. For anyone going through something similar, it's okay to walk away. It's okay to put yourself first. It's okay to grieve, be angry, and feel everything. But don't let someone else's choices define your worth or steal your life. I'm not over it yet. I probably won't be for a while. But I am moving forward day by day, learning to trust myself again. And one day, I'll be able to love, not blindly, not naively, but fully, with my eyes wide open. Because that's the only love worth having.